Hey, what's up? What's up? Thanks for joining us. Just curious, do you dread the cold and flu season? Are you someone that every time this year comes around, you know you're gonna get sick? Or maybe you know someone that dreads the cold and flu season. Well, stay tuned because today we're gonna talk about the top 5 immune boosting boosters. Top 5 immune boosting. Before we get into that, if we don't know each other, my name is Zack Miller, the Organic Nerd, and I talk all about the benefits of eating organic and using organic products, as well as exposing all of the harmful, dangerous chemicals in products and food that we eat, as well as smear all over our bodies and our kids' bodies. And we also talk about mindset, detoxifying the mindset and keeping that as healthy as possible. So let's jump right into it. Let's jump into the top 5 immune system boosters. And the first one is Echinacea. And Echinacea is a very powerful herb or even an extract. And it's powerful because it has phenols in it. And the number one superstar phenol that it has is alkamides. Alkamides are an antioxidant property. They actually support the immune system. They also, Echinacea has polysaccharides, which also support the immune system. It has glycoproteins, which glycoproteins actually help white blood cells travel throughout the body. And let's face it, white blood cells are the ones that are going to be doing all the work for us during cold and flu season. Speaking of cold and flu season, we're right on the precipice of cold and flu season. So go ahead, hit the share button right now. Let's get this information out there because you don't have to go through the cold and flu season with a cold or the flu. There's ways to boost the immune system that you don't have to suffer anymore or even be in fear of the cold and flu season. So go ahead, hit that share button. Let's send it out right now so that people can, be aware that there's organic, natural ways to boost your immune system. So let's get back to Echinacea and the glycoproteins as well as the caffeic acid. Caffeic acid is an antioxidant. It's got antiviral benefits. Also, Echinacea has flavonoids. Flavonoids are antioxidants that provide antiviral properties. And research shows that Echinacea actually increases the number of white blood cells which fight infection. So just by adding Echinacea, you're going to have the possibilities of all these amazing antioxidants and phenols that are going to help increase the white blood cell count to attack those bacterial and virus pathogens that you're getting bombarded with. A study by the University of Connecticut actually showed Echinacea prevents colds, boosts the immune system, reduces pain, reduces inflammation, as well as fights upper respiratory problems. Wow. Just on the top, the first one, Echinacea. Powerful herb. If you see me look down or reach over, just grabbing some notes. I got so much information that I don't want to forget anything, so pardon me if I do look down or reach over. The next one, of the top 5 immuno boosters is elderberry. Now, elderberry is considered one of the top antiviral herbs. Hey Tina, thanks for joining us. And it boosts the immune system. It minimizes the effects of getting sick. Elderberry is has a lot of flavonoids in it, which we talked about flavonoids being antiviral and anti-inflammatory as well as anti-allergic properties. So what a great herb to incorporate into the cold and flu season. It's superstar. So the superstar within elderberry is, and I butcher names, so I apologize. This name hopefully won't get butchered, but that's Anthocyanins. It's known to have immunostimulating effects, and it enhances the immune function by boosting the production of cytokines. So anthocyanins actually boost the immune system production of cytokines. So what are cytokines? Why are cytokines so important? Well, cytokines are proteins that act as messengers in the immune system that help regulate the immune response. So as soon as a pathogen, whether that's a bacteria or a virus, enter the system, elderberry is going to increase this flavonoid, acidinins. I say them fast. You don't recognize it, right? Anyway, increases those, which increases the production of cytokines. And cytokines are the first response. So as soon as they run into a pathogen, a bacteria, a virus, they alert the immune system to send out the white blood cells. So super important. It's also rich in vitamin A and vitamin C, which we all know vitamin C, amazing for the immune system, crucial for optimal health. Research also shows that elderberry actually contains potent antiviral compounds as well as high amounts of bioflavonoids that help fight off the flu. That's right, influenza virus. So bioflavonoids and other proteins actually destroy the ability of the cold and flu virus to infect cells. So bioflavonoids also in elderberry, very important because they actually block the cold and influenza, the flu viruses to infect cells. So that's number 2. Moving on to number 3. Number 3, I wanted to give you a goodie. I wanted to give you a really tight, packed, just power punch, and that's prebiotics. A lot of people don't talk about prebiotics. They talk about probiotics, but not prebiotics. So what are prebiotics? Why are they so important to avoiding the cold and flu season, keeping your body healthy, optimal, running around happy while everyone else that doesn't know this information is kind of miserable? Prebiotics are powerful. If you know anything about prebiotics, go ahead and put it in the comment section as well. And if you're just joining us, go ahead, share this information to everyone so that everyone can avoid the cold and flu season this year. We're talking about the top 5 immune boosters. We're on number 3, that's prebiotics. So what are prebiotics? Prebiotics are food that induce the growth and activity of beneficial microorganisms. So in simple, prebiotics are the food that probiotics need to break down food and nutrients to keep the body healthy. Super simple. And 80% of immunity is in your gut. So if you're having problems with getting sick or every year you get a cold and a flu and for months it lasts, get your gut checked. You got to get your gut health up. Did a whole talk on gut health. Hey Kenneth, thanks for joining us. Did a whole talk on gut health. If you want to go check that out, it's #TheOrganicNerdLive. You can go and find it there. I talk all about probiotics and gut health and leaky gut and so on and so forth. But prebiotics are huge. 80% of immunity in the gut. So keeping the gut healthy will aid in keeping your body healthy throughout the cold and flu season. See, it's all about preventive maintenance. Getting your immune system up before the cold and flu season hits. So a good prebiotic that I actually use consists of honey, propolis, bee pollen, and royal jelly. See, they're finding out so many things right now about bees and how the hive is so sterile and antiviral, antibacterial, and all the things they use have so many great components. So if you're not familiar with honey, royal jelly, propolis, or bee pollen, got it all right here. So sit back. This probiotic is kind of packed with a bunch of different things to really boost your immune system. So honey is actually antiviral, antibacterial, antimicrobial benefits. It contains polyphenols as well as flavonoids. Talked about flavonoids in elderberry as well as Echinacea. And polyphenols, or more specifically, phenolic acid, strengthens the immune system, has antiviral, bacterial, microbial properties. And flavonoids are actually also antiviral, antimicrobial, and properties as well. So honey is a great thing to incorporate in. A lot of people talk about honey with when you have a cough and upper respiratory and how to soothe the cough, honey and water. Man, honey, raw honey, straight, it's got great benefits with the polyphenols and the flavonoids that are going to be preventive maintenance. So, getting a little crooked because the notes are getting heavy here. Let's jump to a subset of the probiotics, which is number 3. And the subset is bee propolis. Now, if you're not familiar with bee propolis, man, you got to do some research. It's an amazing immune boosting benefit. First and foremost, it's the ability to support and activate as well as boost our body's natural defense. Now, I don't know about you, cold and flu, I want my natural defense as high as I can get it. And propolis is going to do that for you. Propolis increases the number of immune cells. So you're going to have tons of immune cells out there alert. Remember, elderberry has that can't think of the word. Anyway, has that ingredient or that amazing component that actually increases the response. Well, propolis increases the immune cells that are out there, able to really see the invaders out there and alert what needs to be the white blood cells to come, the killer cells, the other cells to really come and attack the virus before it builds up in your system. It boosts the immune cells' activity, so it gets them out there rocking and rolling. It activates macrophages, which increase the number and responsiveness of killing bacteria. So those are super important. All this is due to propolis. Amazing. Increases the number of killer cell activity out there as well. You want those killer cells to be out there killing the invaders, the pathogens, the bacteria, and the viruses. This means that propolis works with the body's natural immune defense to help you resist these microbial invaders. Hey, Andy, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. As well, propolis, there's been studies done that show it has a strong anti-influenza activity due to a phenol propanoid called caffeinic acid. So propolis is absolutely amazing. Should definitely find a prebiotic that has propolis in it, or just propolis, honey, straight. The other one that's a subset of the prebiotic that's really going to help prevent cold and flus is bee pollen. Bee pollen is amazing. It's antimicrobial as well as antiviral properties. It contains ample amounts of vitamins B, D, A, C, as well as calcium, magnesium, and selenium, and antioxidants, which all help support the immune system. Now, bee pollen raises the immune system's capability of producing antibodies for the destruction of various influenza viruses. So it's going to help create that influx of antibodies throughout your body. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, man. It's going to increase the amount of antibodies in your system, the white blood cells, the killer cells that are going to go out and kill any invaders as they come in before they build up in your systems. Studies have shown that white blood cell counts were actually increased in people that have been on bee pollen. So right now we're talking about number 3 in the top 5 immune boosters, which is prebiotics. And prebiotics, the ones I use, are consisted of bee pollen, bee propolis, royal jelly, and honey. So that's number 3. You want a prebiotic as well as Echinacea, elderberry. Already talked about those. If you're just joining us, definitely go back, fly buzzing around. Number 4. Hey, Mom, thanks for joining us. Number 4, probiotics. You know, we just talked about prebiotics. What are prebiotics? Prebiotics are the food that probiotics need. So what are probiotics? Probiotics live in your gut. And probiotics are enzymes that you need to help break down your food. Did a whole Facebook Live on it. You want to go watch it? Put in #TheOrganicNerdLive. You can go check it out. But prebiotics help build the immune system. Why? 80% of the immunity lives in your gut. If you can get your gut healthy, You have an 80% stronger immune system to really help with anything in life, let alone cold and flu. The gut is the gateway to the body. It's the gateway to toxins, pathogens, and undigested food. You know, it's funny, in America, we talk about the cold and flu season, but if you really look into like tribal cultures or Africa or Asia, they don't have cold and flu. Why don't they have cold and flu? Well, number one, they don't have holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. See, in Thanksgiving and Christmas, we have a tendency to overeat. We have a tendency to indulge in things we normally wouldn't eat throughout the year. All the sugars and the candies and the cakes and the turkey and the stuffing and all of this bombards your body, your system, and it goes into your gut. And if your gut's not healthy and not up to par, it backs up your whole gut. And what happens when your gut gets all backed up? You start using more and more caloric energy to break that food down. And when you use more and more caloric energy to break that food down, that energy can't be used elsewhere to increase your immunity, to get those white blood cells out there, to get all the things we talked about out there. Another thing that most people aren't aware of during the cold and flu season, daylight goes down. So you're not getting as much vitamin D. We're going to talk about vitamin D in a minute, but you're not getting as much vitamin D. You're not getting as much exercise because it's cold. You don't really want to move around. And now you're bombarding your system, your gut, 80% of your immunity, with all of this extra work to break down this food. And as the food sits there longer and longer and longer, it becomes toxic. So a lot of things going on. Case in point, get your immunity in, get your gut in check, build up your immunity, get some probiotics that work. Did a whole Facebook Live on how to tell whether your probiotics are actually working or wasting your money. Hashtag The Organic Nerd Live. You can go there, check it out. But probiotics are important because you're going to have the enzymes. The enzymes break down the food, make it easier for your body to absorb that nutrients of what your body needs. Gut health is essential for high-functioning immune system. So probiotics restore gut flora, and when you can restore the gut flora back to where it needs to be, let's digress for a little bit. So right now, if you're at the age of 30 or above, you're working with about 40% of the enzymes that you had when you were 16. If you're over 40, you're working with 50% of the enzymes you need. So out of 100, if you're over 40, it's 50% is what you have. If you're 30, then you're working with about 40, so you have, you're working with 60. So you have a gap of 40% less than what you would normally have. So imagine if you increased your enzymes, how much better you would feel, how much healthier you would be. So it restores the gut flora, which increases the production of immunoglobulin. That's a word in itself. So what is immunoglobulin? Immunoglobulin is an antibody. It's a critical part of the immune system. It actually recognizes and binds with antigens, pathogens, viruses, and bacteria. And it aids in the destruction. So immunoglobulin, it identifies those viruses, pathogens, and antigens. It binds with it and kills them. So, man, probiotic, sign me up. Anyway, probiotics also increase the production of specialized immune cells called T lymphocytes and natural killer cells. So, these cells actually recognize as well and kill bad bacteria before it can build up in your body and infect you, hence cold and flu. So, probiotic, definitely recommend it. Studies have shown that probiotic improves, I can't even pronounce this one. Definitely failed English. Sorry, Mom. Phytosis is actually what it is. And that actually is the ability of white blood cells to engulf and destroy viruses such as the cold flu, the cold virus, as well as the influenza virus. So we're going to move on to number 5, the 5th immune booster that I highly recommend that you start building up as we're on the precipice of the cold and flu season, and that's vitamin D. We talked about how going into winter, sunlight gets less and less. Well, think about summertime. Are you sick in the summertime? Chances are you're probably not. So the reason being is sunlight's at its peak. The most sunlight's out there. In the wintertime, sunlight isn't there. It's at the least amount. So your body's not getting that natural vitamin D. So just hanging out in the sun can get you natural vitamin D. Now, if you're in parts of the country or in the world that you don't get a lot of light, well, supplementing with a vitamin D is crucial. And why? Studies show that that infection-fighting cells need vitamin D in order to activate. In other words, when a T cell is exposed to a foreign pathogen, bacteria, or virus, it needs vitamin D to mobilize. If there's not enough, it actually will cease to activate and destroy the invader. So if you don't have enough vitamin D in your body, in your blood, all of what we just talked about is for nothing. Because those T cells, those white blood cells, can't activate. They can't do what they need to do to kill the invader. So you need vitamin D. Vitamin D turns on key peptides in your immune system that trigger a strong antimicrobial response. This allows a quick and effective way to fight off invaders before they can develop and fully blow up into an infection. So what did we talk about here? We talked about the 5 top immune boosters that I believe, in my opinion, you should incorporate after this video, all of them. And that's Echinacea, Elderberry, a prebiotic, a probiotic, and vitamin D. So I highly recommend it. I'm Zack Miller, the Organic Nerd. Here's to you.